This is made in Pencoed, and today we are doing snapshots with Mr. Raymond, and he's going to tell us about 5 photographs he's brought in.
Thank you, Oliver. Yeah, Oliver's asked me to bring in 5 photos from my life, so I've trawled through my cupboard in the attic, and I hope that the 5 photos will tell you a little bit more about my life.
So for this first picture, who is in this photo?
Well, Oliver, this is in fact my nan and granddad, and I chose this photo because they've had a huge influence on my life. They're role models, and I look up to the way they've brought up my mum and the way they've looked after me and my brother growing up. And even though I'm in my late 20s now, I still manage to see them most weekends, and I still manage to get a good treat out of Nan when I go around to her house for a piece of cake and a cup of tea. My granddad, at the moment, he's still giving me a £2 coin every weekend as well.
Are you in this photo?
Well, this is one of my favourite places. It's a place called Lower Fishguard, where I'm from, deepest West Wales, as far west as you can go, really. And this is overlooking Lower Fishguard Harbour. And I chose this photo because I've spent a lot of time growing up here in this area. And I've always had a little dream that the house right on top of the mountain, that one day, maybe, when I retire and I'm old and grey, that I'll live in that house and I'll overlook the wonderful harbour.
Looks like you're working really hard in this photo. What are you doing in this photo?
Well, I chose this one, Oliver, because this was probably the most scared I've ever been. In the background you can see quite a dangerous ridge called Crib Goch, which is one route at getting to the top of Snowdon Mountain, the highest point in Wales. And I did this for charity. We climbed the 16 highest peaks in Wales, and we had to complete it in 24 hours. But I was very proud of this photo because we managed to raise over £10,000 for a charity that was very close to our hearts.
So this looks like a sports day. When was this photo taken exactly?
Well, I love this photo, Oliver, for three reasons really. I'm 7 in this photo, believe it or not, but I wanted to put it in there. Number 1, my school days were some of my favourite days, and I loved the memories of taking part in sport or doing art or going for a class trip. I loved my days in Fishguard Primary School. That was number 1. Number 2, as you probably know, sport is a huge part of my life, and I've always been quite competitive. So I love this image of me in the race, in the sprint, something I really enjoyed. And the third reason, the 4 boys around me, even though we were 7, over 20 years later, we're still very close friends. It goes to show that at primary school you meet some lifelong friends. Go.
So this looks like a very different photo. Why did you take this photo?
Well, it is very different, Oliver. This was in August, which was about 4 months ago now. This is my favourite place on earth, a place called Wattick Bay in Pembrokeshire, which is a secret little cove really. It takes you about half a mile to reach the beach, but when you get there, you could be anywhere on earth. It's peaceful, bit of paradise really. And as you can see by the photo, I'm sure as you've already guessed, this is where I proposed to Emma, and luckily she decided to say yes. So I've got lots of great memories now of Wattick Bay.